Right, less than a year on from a fatal paramotor mid-air collision in the Northwest Highlands, which killed her cameraman and left her seriously injured. Conservationist Sacha Dench is setting off on an expedition once more to track down the migration route of the Osprey.
Sacha and her team have left Scotland for West Africa, and they'll make the journey by car after her injuries left her unable to fly. The Nine's Isla Todd caught up with Sacha before they set off.
Down but not out. The flight of the Osprey expedition may be continuing over land, but the purpose is the same: to track the migration and find out what issues are affecting these birds. For conservationist Sacha Dench, it will be more difficult after her crash last year that's left her leg in a metal cage and needing crutches to get around.
I've had serious damage to my lower legs. I still have metal in the lower half of my left leg. So what that means is that there is no way that I can run along the ground with a 30-kilo paramotor on my back to fly.
The team of 9 have been making last-minute preparations here in the Cairngorms before setting off today, and will use key pieces of technology to identify, track and monitor these birds and what issues are affecting them.
We are following the Osprey as it's setting off on its autumn migration path, so the flyway, and we'll be stopping at many wetland sites along the way because the Osprey feeds off of fish, so they depend on wetlands. And we're using the species as a flagship species to represent all the wetlands along the way.
They will spend 4 months on this data gathering part of their research, tracking the Osprey migration from Scotland through 14 countries all the way to West Africa. And it's hoped their research can help other species as well.
There will be a meeting, a global meeting at the back end of next year, 2023, where we'll look at all this together in terms of climate change impact. And I think at that point we'll see what we can do. But we need examples like this to be absolutely on the ground, to connect the Osprey to people, to look at the impact of climate change.
And their thoughts won't be far from their colleague, cameraman Dan Burton, who died in the paramotor collision last year.
He's kind of with me, with us in spirit, and I feel like I'm doing it as much for him and his legacy as I'm doing it for the Osprey and all the people along the flyway.
Although flying is no longer part of the process, the purpose of the expedition remains unchanged: to protect the Osprey and ensure they continue to return to Scotland year after year. Isla Todd, BBC News, the Cairngorms.